our veins, sitting in the bleachers in the rain. We've shed a million tears and drank as many old style beers out at the game. Let's go Cubby, Son Ranto, Son Ranto, Son Ranto and the lovable loser. Son Ranto, Son Ranto, Son Ranto and the lovable losers. Son Ranto, Son Hi, everybody. Hi, I'm Danny Rocket. I have now blown a blood vessel in my eye, and I'll be going to the emergency room. And good night, everybody. Nice to be here. Hi, everybody. This is the Son Ranto Show, brought to you by the Bleacher Bunch Productions on the Fans First Network, which brings you great shows like Cup of Cubby Blue, Baseball Rabbit Hole, and the Cubs PS Plus podcast. And of course, it is brought to you by our 108 paid Patreon supporters. Thank you so much. If you want to be a part of it, go to patreon.com/sunranto. And I want to point out some QR codes that you see on your screen currently. There's one for Venmo at Danny Rocket with 2 T's, and another one for PayPal. That is PayPal sunranto@gmail.com. Let me just say, any money you give to us during this show tonight, it's going in the Japan fund because we're going to Japan. I want to go to Japan. I want Michael Cotton to go to Japan. I want IFG to go to Japan. We're all going to Japan, and you can help us get to Japan by just clicking on that, and I'll put it in the piggy bag for Japan. But first, I want to welcome to the show, Michael Cotton is ill, not feeling great tonight. IFG has a shitty job that she hates that they're making her do all late tonight, so she can't come either. So I asked Mike Waller from the Cubs PS Plus podcast to come on here today. He's part of the Bleacher Bunch Productions. And also Billy DeVore of the New Nasty Boys to come on today and talk all about this Reds and Cubs series as we battle for 5th place or 4th place. I guess we're battling for 4th, but we both deserve 5th. Is I think how it goes.
Since run differential is all that counts, this is a tied series.
Oh, dude, we kicked your ass tonight.
Yeah, and expected wins and losses. That's what gets you into the playoffs.
Yeah,
sure.
Ex Woba is my spirit animal. So first of all, Mike Waller, how you doing tonight? Are you drinking anything fancy tonight, or are you just doing Gatorade like last? There you go. I knew it. He's hydrating. I've got tea. I'm drinking tea, and maybe
I'll switch it up at a break. But for right now, that's where I'm starting.
I've done about 3 8-balls of Coke too before I got here. So yeah, just like get ready because I'm going all night. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're balancing it out with the sleepy tea. You know,
it's chamomile. I'm coming down. I'm Judy Garlanding tonight.
Chamomile and cocaine. That's a great podcast name.
Billy, I hope you're slamming the Skyline tonight.
Yes,
I am not.
Are you eating Skyline? Yeah. What do you got there?
I've got a little water out of my Reds premium Yeti cup, so that's pretty cool. Hydrating. I just came back from my parents' house about 15 minutes from here. My sister's in town from Norfolk, Virginia, with her spawn, and saw them, and then taught her the losing ways of the Cincinnati sports scene.
So, by watching the game tonight?
Yeah, by going, check out disappointment.
Well, I figure the first 2 games of the series is why Cotton's sick. So
yeah, he's like, I'm not coming out. I can't talk about this team. So I want to thank everybody that's here in the chat. We've got Steve Sure. He's coming all the way from the Southwest in Arizona. Blake Beard is here. He is one of our main paid Patreon supporters. He is a super duper ranter, and he's got incredible tickets at the Blake Beard. Also brought to you by Rogue Wave Creative, and Mike Waller and the Cubs PS Plus podcast is a sponsor of the Son Ranto Show. Robert Sanchez is here. He says #chance, and you know what that means. If you put #chance in the chat, you can win a Frank Chance postcard sent to you by me with a message of love and doom. And I promise I will find some love because I'm feeling pretty doomy. We also got Everett Yoakum is here saying yodelay he who. I agree with that. He says everybody yodel. Okay. That's pretty good.
I don't yodel.
You don't yodel? Maybe Maybe later in the podcast, if we can get you just put something extra in that Gatorade, we can get some yodeling out of you.
I normally don't yodel at home. You normally yodel at Walmart, but
in the camping section, you just have to. You have to feel it coming up inside.
Yeah, I'm just trying to go viral. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. That kid with the boots and that. He's going to be older, sitting at a bar one day. You're going to meet him. You'll be in your mid-50s, and you're going to meet the yodeling kid, and he'll be like 31, just like, on his second wife, just, wondering
dude,
what went wrong.
Dude, actually, the kid hit puberty, and he put out a couple albums, and people are digging it, and now he's opening for Lana Del Rey.
Wow. Oh, does he yodel still, or he's like past yodeling, is into some more serious stuff?
He just is doing some serious country. It's kind of crazy. It's like it's really wild when a kid goes viral and then Hollywood doesn't get a hold of him and like touch him or whatever. So they like grow up right.
Well, that's Nashville. That's Nashville for you. They just do that with Hawk Tuah girls, I think.
Yeah, they just send them on the Rogan podcast circuit. They're like, well, have fun with Whitney Cummings.
So we got a lot of people here. Dominic's here. #Chance in the chat. He says he's going to try to stay awake for a while. Mr. Fourth Row, Artie Boucher, all the way from Colorado, is writing in. He said, just say Cotton and IFG were traded for cash considerations. Yeah.
A co-host to be named later.
Well, I do wonder how much I could get for those guys, because if somebody would pay me for them, I would absolutely sell Michael Cotton and IFG to the highest bidder.
Yeah,
no problem.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about Cotton's kidneys. I don't think those are going to get a lot on the open market.
Exactly. And certainly not a liver. And Tim DeHade is here. He says, hello, guys. Hello, Tim. Carrie Myers here says #Chance in the chat. Alex Anderson, #Chanson. Tom Cooper. We got a lot of people here tonight. Blake, Steve, and Carrie says, how did we get out of Cincy with only one measles 20? I think she means measly win.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I certainly do feel like I've got a communicable disease right now. Being a Cubs fan. She says it's a 10-minute rain delay. That was all that happened in the game tonight, which is why we're starting a little bit late tonight.
So see, the short rain delays always work out well for the Cubs. We got to keep those.
We are a rain delay squad. So trade deadline has. Oh wait, one more plug. In the Clutch shirts. This show is brought to you by In the Clutch shirts. Billy DeVore is an employee of In the Clutch shirts. I am a enthusiast of In the Clutch shirts, so much so. And an influencer that I am wearing my Christopher Morel Destroyer In the Clutch shirt, limited edition, because these are going to be off the site in no time, or they're going to be replaced with Morel or Ray's stuff, which I don't know. They got 4 fans. You can sell only one more of these things to a Rays fan. So I'm wearing this tonight. Do you actually have these in stock, or do you make them up as they're made? Like, do you have any? Are you going to put these on sale now?
They're all print on demand. So you basically, you're getting a 1-on-1 every time you order from us, because there's a chance maybe this is such a niche design that we only sell one. Who knows? So, and Carrie, I saw your email. Email me your address, size, and what shirt you want, and we'll get it shipped out to you.
Because Carrie was one of the winners of the Patreon prize of the month, which we gave away last week. We gave away another Patreon prize of the month, and those are for only Patreon supporters. You get to win not only a In the Clutch t-shirt, one of our sponsors of the Patreon prize, but you also win a Matt Kammerer art piece, which actually it's this one, because this is what I have. I'll show it to you. It's the permanent paintings Ron Santo on the map. We're called Son Ranto.
Love it.
That's Ron Santo. It seemed appropriate. So let's get into tonight's episode. Our teams are different. Our teams are different than the last time we saw each other. Not too different, but different.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we'll start with what the Cubs did. And I do want to hear what the Reds did, but we got a guy named Isaac Paredes, who used to be in the Cubs organization. We're starting with the headline trade here,
Mm-hmm.
And he is the anti-Morel Like everything that Morel's skills show that he does, according to advanced stats and stuff, Paredes does the opposite of that. Well, maybe not completely the opposite, but that you would expect Morel's with the way he hits the ball so hard that he'd have a higher batting average. And you would expect Paredes in that he hits the ball softer, that he'd have a lower batting average, but the completely opposite topsy-turvy, which I guess means that the advanced stats are absolutely incorrect and we shouldn't ever trust them again. Am I correct, Mike Waller and our local stat nerd?
Sure. No, I mean, you get there in different ways. I mean, they both pull the ball a lot. Paredes, all of his power comes pull side, but he does spray the ball right now a little bit more than Morel does, I think, overall.
I'll put up his 2024 spray chart here. You can see all his home runs are basically to the left field corner, where Christopher Morel hit one for the Rays today, right around that left field corner. He's like, oh, let me try Paredes' little left field home run trick, and he did it.
I am so ready for us to get past the point where every at bat by either guy is a complete evaluation of the entire deal.
Well, it's not happening on this show anytime soon. I'll tell you that much.
I know.
So,
but I'm only going to be here every so often. So
yeah, true. So this is Paredes' spray chart versus Morel's spray chart, and you can see Morel just knocks it around a little bit more. Definitely has power to more fields than Paredes does,
for sure.
But I'll put up here's Paredes' stat casts. Situation. You can see a lot of blue in the xwOBA, so they don't think too highly of the chances that he's going to get a hit, but in actually getting a hit, he's quite good. He's batting run value is quite high, towards the top, and his whiff rate's really good. His walk rate's good. His strikeout percentage is way better than Morel's. That makes him quite a different player, but he doesn't slug quite as much, and you wouldn't expect him to be as good. And here's Morel's. And then you can see it's the exact opposite, that his xwOBA, he should have a base on base percentage of 350. Instead, it's down around 350 points lower than you'd expect. And he's just been very quote unquote unlucky. So, when it comes to these stats, and Billy, chime in on this stuff too. How much weight do you think Jed normally puts into these things? And is this just him zagging on his own zig?
I think it's a change in the pace. I mean, how many times have we seen, I talk about all the time on Cubs Pod, you guys probably get sick of hearing it. Cubs will get runners at first and second, nobody out, runners at second and third, one out, and nobody moves a runner around because it's strikeout looking, pop up. And Paredes is a guy that's going to give you a little bit more consistent contacts, should have more productive outs, should have more base hits when runners in scoring position. I mean, he has a track record. It's not like he's coming off, a half a fluke season. Now at high end, if Christopher Morel maxes his potential, they're not going to be close. Morel's going to be a far superior player because of his power, but Paredes gives you better defense. He's a little bit more stable, which on the one hand I like in that position, but on the other hand, the Cubs are loaded with stable and they're missing the great. But the problem is this year Morel wasn't giving them the great, and I think they felt like they wanted to make a decision there.
Billy, from an outside standpoint, what did you think of this deal? Both players.
Yeah, I thought this was like a very similar move to what the Mariners did in the offseason with a lot of like their rebuild, their retooling, which was tired of chasing homers and chasing power. Instead, they swapped out Teoscar Hernandez and Eugenio Suarez for Josh Rojas and Luke Raley. Just trying to find dudes who get on, guys who hit for average. And when you chase that, most of the time it really doesn't work out. And it doesn't, if it's a power position, you need to have people that hit for power in that position. And I think I didn't understand it when it went through. I was like, why are you giving up a guy who is a bat speed barrel percentage god in Christopher Morel for someone who's just going to continue to make weak contact? And you're trading with the Rays, dude. They are always going to win.
The one thing I want to know is, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just a proven track record. If the Rays want something from you, you need to look at yourself in the mirror and go, what do we not get?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought there might be another
I understand what the Rays see. Christopher Morel is incredible to me. I completely understand why they'd be like, "Oh, you're going to you don't like Morel? We'll take him, no problem."
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say, I was wondering if the Cubs were going to make a bigger play, and there are some rumors out there that, I mean, we have no idea how these trade talks go, right? I mean, teams are calling teams and making pitches, and you don't know who's really on the market, who's not. And there's also, Jed's talking about doing this for 2025 and beyond. So this could be a half step. The one thing I think it does for the Cubs that's a potential positive, although I hate losing Morel because I love that dude, is if he wasn't going to stick at third base and they had to go in a different direction, he starts lining up as a DH. And by dealing him, they now have more potential to potentially go get a star level bat if they're going to chase one in the offseason, whether it's by trade or free agency or whatever. But I have to see if they're going to do it. If getting Itzhak Paredes just means they're going to roll this lineup out and run it back again next year, it's not going to be good enough.
It does seem that way because they've now, except for the catching position, which, you've tried Amaya out there. I don't know if they're like sold on him yet. I doubt they are, just by the way it's gone. But they're kind of shored up at first base now because you're like, oh, Michael Busch having a great year. Second base, there were the Horner rumors that they might move him on. And if they did, maybe you're moving Morel over there and you're still considering third base somewhere that you're trying to add to. But they didn't. Horner's still there, so he's going to be there for foreseeable future. Then you have Dansby at short. That's locked up for the rest of our damn lives. Third base is now locked up for the next 3 years, at least with Itzhak Paredes. You got the corners locked up with Happ and Suzuki with no trade clauses, and then you got Bellinger up in in center field, or you move him to right in PCA plays. So you're pretty much solid, barring injury, and you're blocking anybody else or any other concept of trading for a bigger bat, unless you really shake up that little family that you've created for yourselves. And my fear is that Jed, because he thinks he's so damn smart, he is just like, oh, well, this is more of the same. And because we're only playing in the 10th percentile of what our simulation would have shown, that in a normal circumstances, listen, the Cubs Pathag, they're only 2 under 500 in their Pathag. So Jed's seeing that, and he's like, oh, just a couple of these one-run games go the other way, and Paredes is in there, center Morel, and we switched that out, and now we're good. That's my fear, is that he thinks that now his Lego set is complete.
I think we might see a change up, and that's what I want to see. But also, you have to factor in Jed's going into his last year, and I don't know if they don't extend him before the season. That tells me that next year matters, and so if he's such a super genius, rolls the whole thing back, and it looks exactly like it looks this year, he might be out. Because
yeah, I think so. And Robert says there's no way that he doesn't trade from the major league roster this offseason, but who? Who's taking the Dansby contract? Nobody. Who's you're selling low on Warner.
I think Nico goes.
Well, you're selling kind of low on him. He hasn't had a great year. They got kicked off the leadoff spot because it wasn't working out. They had Happ up there today, which always made sense to everybody because of the OBP, but they didn't do it. He ends up hitting a home run up there today. So anyway, we did give up 2 other players as well, which kind of hurts my feelings a little bit because you got Hunter Biggie, who we just saw come up. I know you're not as familiar with some of these guys, Billy, but he was touching 100. And we're like, we don't need that. Let's throw him off to the Rays. But luckily, I guess we picked up another guy that throws 97 and or 2 guys that throw 97. One guy's a minor leaguer.
97, 98, yeah.
Yeah, 97, 98. There's the guy from the Yankees is Jack Neely, who's got a rough mustache. I'll put a picture of it up here real quick. This is him. Yeah.
Ooh.
There's his O face, I guess. He was on a team called the O's at some point. I don't know what that's
He's
from.
trying so hard to be Skeens, but it's not working.
Dude, that's Ohio State. Yeah.
Yeah, that's more Paul Skeeves instead of it's pretty rough.
Livy Dunn, stay away. Okay.
Exactly. Livy's done with that. Yeah, let me tell you that. Yeah.
Livy Dunn, over it.
So, and then that guy throws gas, but we gave up Biggie. And then we also, and that guy's name, who I just put up with the bad mustache, is Jack Neely, who's super tall. He has a 2.75 ERA in minors, all relief, over 4 years. He's got 14.3 Ks per 9 and 3.9 walks per 9. So that's, one of those guys.
Yeah.
Well, from the
true
scouts,
fear.
he's got a really high rated slider. Slider and fastball are both plus pitches, so he'll come in and be your typical. He's got one of those tight sliders. Is not a big sweeper at this point.
Yeah.
And he was assigned to Iowa today.
This might
Go
sound
ahead.
crazy to some of you guys. I don't know if you're under the age of 20, 26 and you're pitching in the minors, you're throwing over 97 miles an hour. It's not like a big deal anymore. Like everyone throws 100. Can they place it? Probably not. But every kid you're going to see, it's like, oh yeah, it throws like 107.
Yeah, exactly. They're all Sid Finch throwing 168, coming in.
But 3 years ago, the Cubs didn't have that.
They didn't. We had no
No.
velocity. Like we were topping out at 95 in the pen. And then finally we got it and we shit our pants and traded it away for other guys that could also do it. Because we also got Nate Pearson, who
My boy.
that's from, why was he a Red at some point? Yeah,
No.
He's
He's
a Blue
just
Jay.
Yeah. Just the pride of Canada, Nate Pearson, dude. The guy he was a prodigy. I mean, he was huge in Toronto. It just never worked out. He couldn't figure out his control. He's got some stuff.
I'll put his numbers. I mean, the whip kind of worries me. It's about 1.5 on his whole career over 4 years. That's 117 innings pitched. So that's kind of high for a whip. And it's because of the bases on balls. It's the same guy again, except for with less strikeouts than the dude I was just talking about.
Well, that's the big question.
Neely.
I mean, can they unlock him and get that out? Because the arm talent's there. It's always been there.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, what worries me about him is him hitting my Cincinnati Reds in the head. That's what bothers me.
I was
Well,
going
I
to say,
wanted
though,
to bring him up.
wasn't that so boring? I missed the Amir Garrett and Javi Baez days. Like,
Yeah. That would have been a
would've been
benches
on.
clearing. Yeah, it would have been a benches clearing brawl, but instead everybody is just like way too wimpy to do anything to each other now.
and in those fights, nobody gets tossed, but here they just toss him right away and nothing happens, and it was boring.
No. Well, it was 2 days ago was the 4-year anniversary of Amir Garrett flying punching the all of the Pirates. So
that was amazing.
all of them, dude. That team was so much fun. I think that, like, as an adult, that was my favorite Reds team because did they suck? Oh yeah, but dude, give me another squad where they just brought out barbells and were just lifting in the dugout with sleeveless jerseys. I mean, how cool is that?
Were those the Castellanos days too? Was he on the
No,
team?
that was
not that-
Derek Dietrich, Puig, Winker, Gino. God, that was a Votto. That was so fun.
It's just an endless list of Cub killers here.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only one you didn't bring up was Eugenio Suarez, who like batted 700 against the Cubs.
I did. I said
Career.
Gino. I said Gino.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, Gino. Yeah,
Dude, they did like a presser with like a kids' day thing out in like Danny, where we were by like the wiffle ball field. There's a stage at Great American Ballpark, and they asked Gino. This kid was like, "Which team do you hate the most?" And Gino was like, "Oh, he's the Cubs. I hate the Cubs."
Yes, he does.
It was just immediate. It was so funny.
Carrie asks, "Who's our reliever who threw so hard but zero control?" Dylan Maples, I believe, might be who you. Yeah, and that was the issue because he freaking nailed that dude right in the head the other night. Got tossed, and so like that's true fear if you're facing one of those guys that he's like, yeah, I was trying to come inside, but it kind of slipped. It's like these dudes are throwing so hard with such spin, like I mean this is a projectile, like going as fast as a bullet, I mean, someone's going to get freaking nailed in the face with all this, like, advanced metric spin they're getting out of it.
It was scary because you can see his reaction. He kind of jumped back at it. Like he didn't see it. I mean, there was no intent and fine, they kicked him, whatever, but it's just scary to throw that hard and lose it.
Yeah, it's almost like they used to have this thing that they would put on the ball so they could get better control and not hurt people.
Like sticky or something.
It was like, it's like it kind of stuck on there. It was like an insect, spider, something. I don't remember,
So we also gave up, I didn't mention this, with Hunter Biggie, we gave up Ty Johnson for Paredes as well. And I heard I think it was Devin definitely one of the Gregs talking about
It was
this
Greg,
on
Greg
his
Huss
show.
and Brian Smith.
It was Brian. Yeah, that's right. And they were pretty high on Ty Johnson. They were kind of sorry to lose these guys.
Yeah.
They're thinking in a couple of years, they might look at that situation and be a little bit sad about it. But
I don't have it in front of me, but I think Greg Huss had him around the 21st Cubs prospect, something like that.
yeah. So, and then, I mean, and you never know if that guy even makes it, that's still 21st and you got your whole team. Like, it's going to be hard to get up there. But then we also traded Mark Leiter Jr. As a Cub. He was quite good for us. He had a 3.85 ERA and 168 innings pitched. We got a guy named Benjamin Cowles, who we lost a shortstop, Josh Rivera, in the Nate Pearson trade, and then we got another shortstop, this time from the Yankees, Josh Rivera. And then Greg and Brian said that they basically replaced him on the depth chart. And I'm like, well, so it's shuffle. And they also mentioned that this might be a little shuffling the deck chairs on the Titanic, if you will, as you can see from my hat that I might be the captain of. And then we also got a guy. No, that's all we got. And then we also traded Yohendrick Piniago.
It was Leiter for Jack Neely and Cal.
Yeah, exactly. So the Jack Neely, the pitcher that throws hard. And then, but Neely, isn't he a starter? One of the guys is a starter. Pearson is a reliever and Neely is a starter, I believe, right?
No, I don't think so.
All right. I might be wrong about it. Somebody. One of these guys was a starter. I looked up today. Oh, Ty Johnson was a starter.
Yeah, Ty Johnson's a starter.
Ty Johnson was the starter. Yeah. So then, just to finally kind of get through this, Benjamin Cowles, that shortstop, he has a hurt hand, and he also comes from University of Maryland, where Matt Shaw went. So there might be some sort of like thing that Jed thinks he knows about the University of Maryland and how turtles are good at baseball. I don't understand, but there we go.
If you watch, there are little pockets where we have certain scouts and they see guys, and as we see, the Cubs like to get guys they wanted in the first place or get guys they gave up and bring them back. So
yeah, Billy, you must see kind of the same thing watching the Reds minor, that these guys have like some schools that they go to, and or what do you think their kind of MO? Because we notice things like that.
They just have an archetype, which is what their whole archetype is. Is he a middle infielder? Is he fast? And does he does he have good contact? Okay, if not, then it's just a college pitcher. I mean, there's that's just what the Reds do. They have what they like, and they just continue to draft that.
And so when I look at the overall trade deadline that the Cubs pulled off, and I want to talk about what the Reds did too. I think Cub fans were pretty underwhelmed by what happened. You maybe upgraded third base, but you also kind of took away a very exciting player that was a fan favorite. You kind of swapped out some relievers. Oh, Mark Leiter Jr.'s out, Pearson's in. So you did that. It really kind of a big fat nothing burger in some ways. Jed claims he's building for 2025, but as we've already mentioned, that seems like I made a joke on Twitter the other day. It was Jed with a word bubble saying, I have 16 different colors of khaki pants in my pants drawer. And that is just kind of like what I feel about Jed Hoyer. He's just he thinks he's doing great stuff, and it's not doing much of anything at all. It's putting a drop of sand in a bottle every day for 5 years until it is oh, look, it's a quarter full. Dude.
Well, most fan bases feel like they didn't do anything because I agree with just what most people have been writing. The trade deadline is too soon.
It is.
It needs it. You can't with expanded playoffs and having it be right after the All-Star break. That no one's going to want to go risk it. No, there were no top 100 prospects traded this trade deadline. That is insane.
Mm-hmm.
That and no one really of crazy value except Randy Arozarena and Lane Thomas and Morel were your big movers.
Yeah, the Dodgers shored up a lot of their bench and stuff by getting guys who would be starters on other teams to come be on their bench or in the minors for them, just in case something happened. Yeah. They've got the insurance for the insurance. That's right, what it seemed like.
Right. They brought back Ahmed Rosario. Who gives a shit? That's not going to get, and then nothing really like, like I'm watching the trade deadline happen. I'm sitting here on my couch like this. I'm like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. Oh, yep, this is very boring. And you're taking away one of the highlights of baseball, which is the trade deadline. That's like one of the things where everyone gathers around the TV, getting excited, getting hyped for baseball, and you've neutered it.
And here's a list of the players that either nobody wanted or Jed overvalued and tried to, hit a home run with these dudes. The big one being Jameson Taillon, who actually started and got blown up by the Reds offense and on Monday, and everybody was pissed. Like all the Cub fans were like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life, because there's no way. And Mike, you made a point on, I believe it was on Cubs PS Plus or on Cubs Pod, that you said, he's got a track record. One game isn't really going to affect this kind of thing.
He's got a 9-year history in baseball. Not going to be like, oh, he gave up 3 homers to the Reds. He can't pitch anymore. I mean, come on.
My issue is that it's just kind of, what if he got hurt?
Well, that's why I wouldn't have started him in that game for that reason, not because of I cared about giving up a couple home runs.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even care we lost. At this point, I don't care whether we win or lose. I'm just looking at individual players that will be on our team next year and whether I think they'll do better and whether I even think that is valuable to know or not, because at this point, it's garbage time. And there are no more high leverage at bats for any of them because none of this matters as we battle for the basement. So it's hard to even tell what we're seeing. So they didn't get anything done for Taillon. I'm fine with that. Now we have him for 2 more years. Maybe next year they trade him when we're in the same position again, floating around 500. Let's hope not. Hector Neris in the last deal of his contract. Nobody fucking wants that shit. Neither do the Cubs. Obvious, nobody wants that kind of freaking drama in their life. It's like bringing back that like drunk girlfriend you had in college and be like, well, my life was interesting when we were together, at least, let's bring her back for a month and date her a little bit longer.
Yeah. I miss waking you up at the end of the bar. I really missed having that thrill of the chase.
Yeah.
Well, there's also now with the tap at the end of in a couple of weeks, which is just the waiver period, which now teams are going to use. Say, something falls apart for say something falls apart for the Padres, and I'm watching them right now, and it's not. They're really good at baseball. You can just see a bunch of dudes get put on the waivers, kind of like what the Angels did last year. So who knows? Now we have a second period where this can happen, and teams are just trying to get there, just trying to balance their checkbooks, if you will.
Salary dump and get in order, maybe get under some taxes that they don't want to pay or what. I guess who got DFA last year that was like, what? Like that man has never been.
Angels cut like 8 guys.
Yeah, Lucas Giolito, Hunter Renfroe, Harrison Bader. Man, they like all of their pitching. It was crazy. Yeah. Everybody they traded for, they're like, we're going to clean out real quick.
And these are guys that have never been. Who?
Lance Lynn got traded.
Oh, that's right. He got traded late. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
These guys have never been cut from any team ever. These are good players.
And they're like, hey, we're rich old white dudes, let's get under that luxury tax.
So then
it was good for them. They got off the Angels and all got to go to playoff contenders.
Yeah. It's good for the players, I guess. And then, but it's like, and there's no trade at that point, right? It's just a release, right? It's just, they pick them up and they get the salary. No. But apparently nobody wanted any bench bats from either the right or left side because Patrick Wisdom is still a Cub. Mike Tauchman is still a Cub. Mm-hmm. Everybody's got that guy, I think, hits a dong off the bench sometimes, bats 200. Like, isn't that what the old DHs were for back in the day? Some guy hanging on.
Matt Stairs, baby.
Yeah. So nobody wants that. Nico Horner, they didn't get anything done with. It was just a rumor, but probably affected his performance, having all those rumors going through his head this whole time. Nobody wants Drew Smiley at all.
No way.
Really? Well, so one thing Jed said in an interview today was he said he was not interested in dealing for low-level minor leaguers. So I think right up to the deadline, he was holding for guys close to Major League ready. And so that's where I think like Tauchman and Smiley fell apart. I mean, there's no way with his track record in the bullpen in the playoffs, what he did for Atlanta in 2021, There's no way, literally, there's no team out there in baseball that there's literally nobody out there that wants Drew Smyly.
Yeah. And except for the Cubs, they freaking love that guy. They're like, oh, you just had Tommy John surgery? I will sign you for 4 years and rehab you, and you can throw on the sidelines, and, we can maybe get a glimpse of you every now
But then
and
COVID will come and we'll cut him before he can actually pitch for us.
Exactly. And we'll cut you, and then we'll re-sign you and pay you even more money so you could get injured again on the team. That's our thing.
Yeah.
And then David Bodie's the other one that nobody wanted.
Go figure, right?
And I guess we wouldn't need any salary either. Like,
where's Joe Blanton pitching? Pick him up for that game.
Exactly. So, and then there's a bunch of other stuff that happened. Mastroboni went to Iowa. Jesus Tinoco's off the team, so we are Jesus-less yet once again. Thomas Nido, he's got a torn meniscus, is out for at least a month, probably longer. Christian Betancourt is up, who nobody was expecting that to happen. And he actually didn't he get a hit tonight?
Yeah.
Everybody got hits on the Cubs tonight.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, how many hits?
A couple
17.
doubles off the wall.
Yeah, 17 hits.
Yeah.
Paredes with 2 doubles. We win the trade. We win the trade right there, even though Morel's already hit 2 home runs for the Rays. And then Alzolay is probably not coming back. He's not recovering like they had hoped. And but Caleb Killian was activated and optioned, I believe, to Iowa.
Yeah, so I'm curious if they're going to stretch him out. They might still want to give him one more shot as a starting pitcher. Otherwise, I think he's probably ready to go in the bullpen now. Unless they just want to give him more work with as much time as he's missed.
And then I want to get into some of the other teams in the Central. Let's start with the Reds. You traded Lucas Sims to Boston for Ovis Portes.
Yeah, he's a 19-year-old flamethrower, tops out at 100. They've already recorded that on the gun at high A. So, excuse me. So we got something for Lukey Punchy tickets. Lucas Sims was a dog shit in the 8th inning. He gave up around 32 runs this year, and 2/3 of them were all in the 8th, and they just kept throwing him in that spot. Free agent. His spin rate is in the 97th percentile on all of baseball. So a lot of people see that and they're like, oh man, that's nice. But his velocity's dipped. So he's going to look really good in a Red Sox uniform, turning around and watching balls go over the big green monster.
Banging off of it at the very least. I'm hoping Morel bangs a bunch off the monster. I'm sure they go back there at least one more time. Maybe not, because this is our last series with the Cardinals coming up
dude,
this weekend. And
we're done with Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane. I feel like I'm starting to become an old man like you, Danny, just being like, I want to play them more. My division, what is this? We got to play everybody. It's ruining the sport, making everybody mediocre. It's like, man, it's like when we saw Justin Steele, it's like, that was probably the second time we've seen him this year. And then we lit him up, but we only get to see him like twice a whole year.
Yeah. Well, and then they do the even dumber shit, which, because if you have 4 total series and 6 months of baseball, you could at least spread it out where like the first 2 months you play and then the last 2 months you play, and then you play all the other teams in the middle. No, we played each other like within the week.
It's like 7 games in 10 days.
7 games in 10 days. The Reds and Cubs played during Ranterfest. That was, we had the week after Ranterfest, we were in Cincinnati the very next weekend. So that was stupid. So it's just a poorly designed schedule. And then you traded for cash. You got Davis Wenzel. Is that a thing? Is this guy a guy?
You know what? I think he's inheriting the Wenzel pretzel fortune. Okay. I think that's him. Dude, I saw that and I was like, I don't care. This is clearly just a body, and pretty cool. We got cash. How cool,
cash considerations.
That's elite prospect.
And then you traded Austin Slater, Levon Soto, and the cash you got from the Rangers to the Orioles for. Wait for it. Player to be named later.
No. Player to be named later or cash considerations. Holy shit.
So they just send the cash back?
Yeah, they just send it back. They just hire a Brinks truck and then they have it come over to Great American Ballpark, and they're like, you know what? Let's just send it right back. Just send it back. Dude, Austin Slater, we just traded for 3 weeks ago from the Giants for Alex Young, who is a solid left-handed reliever, through 95, 96. Did a decent job for the Reds last year and was running up and down 71, pitching between Louisville and Cincinnati, just more bullpen depth, which is a strength of this team and organization. And then they traded him to San Francisco. San Francisco then DFA'd him. The Mets picked him up, and he's pitched 2 innings so far, scoreless with like 3 Ks. It's like, does anybody know what they're doing here? I don't think so.
I really don't think they do.
I really don't think that these guys have any clue. So, yeah, there was that. But the big one was Frankie Montas to the Brewers.
Yeah, I was getting to that.
I just want to get to it because I really want to say this, which is we got Jacob Junis and Joey, show me your Weimer.
Yeah, now this you said
didn't really blow me away.
You said you liked this deal, and I'm like, but isn't Frankie Montas supposed to be good? Isn't that why the Brewers wanted him?
The big word there is supposed to.
Okay.
He's been inconsistent. So a lot of the Reds signed him on a hope and a wish that he would return to 2021 form. The splitter would be nasty, the cutter would be working, the velocity would return, and it was starting to come back. This was his first full year since 2022. So it was starting to return a little bit, but the results were wildly inconsistent. A couple times he went over 6. I think it was maybe 2 or 3 times he went over 6 innings. A lot of the times it would be 4 1/3, 4 2/3 to be like, maybe if you give up 3 runs, or I'm like, okay, that's a 5 starter. That's at best, but the past 3 starts, he got freaking shelled, and he didn't look good. So I was like, okay, if we can get anything for him, I'll take it. And Jacob Junis is another guy that can go out there and pitch 2-3 innings every couple days and be a long reliever. Cool.
Well,
great.
Through 1.1 innings tonight, he gave up 4 hits, 3 earned run, a walk, but 2 strikeouts. Very nice. He got half of his outs were strikeouts.
Come on. Hey, it's his first time at Great American Small Park. Small Park. You got to. So we'll see what happens there. And then Weimer is a UC product. He graduated from the University of Cincinnati. So I talked to our good friend Eric Wheelo about him, and he was like, dude's fast. He can good contact, but he just can't hit a breaking ball, and he's very good in the outfield, which I'm like, cool. That's just AAA depth, outfield depth, and just cool, awesome. I'll take that for a guy that we were going to only have for 2 more months who was not very good.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it.
Guy Serious here in the chat said, just realized it's Thursday. It's not Thursday. It is Wednesday. So you can realize back that it's actually Wednesday. But the Cubs have a Thursday night game at Wrigley Field tomorrow night. So that's why we're going tonight instead of at post game. Because I'm going to try to go to this game. It is Ian Happ bobblehead night, and nice. I'm just the biggest fan of Ian Happ that I have to get down there.
Yeah,
I'm so happy that we've clogged up our left field with a slightly above average player with a no trade clause. It's really my favorite part of the Cubs, deep down. So then the Pirates, can we move on to the Pirates, or you want to talk about Joey Wiener more?
I was just going to say the Reds, what they did was they didn't move a bunch of dudes on that were solid in the bullpen, one of our strengths this year, top 10 in baseball, a lot of metrics for bullpen.
Do you have those guys into the future, though, or was that a mistake?
No, they're all on expiring, dude. Like Nick Martinez, player option. Buck Farmer, gone. Justin Wilson, gone. Like, who else am I forgetting here? Yeah, but gone. And then a couple dudes on the IL who are going to come back, whatever, but gone. Like, you didn't move them. I don't understand.
This is like where the trade deadline doesn't make sense because even though you're out, we're both out of it. We're last place, still within like 5 games, the wild card ish. And so why dismantle your bullpen if there's a chance maybe you go on a heater?
Right.
And because you're going to get like 4 A-ball kids that are never going to pan out.
And you don't want to signal to your fans, when there's still a couple months of summer left, that there's absolutely nothing to watch. Like there's a few teams that are like the White Sox, although I guess they still have Garrett Crochet to watch down there. Did he not?
He said he wouldn't pitch in the playoffs.
Yeah. And I think he's going to shut himself down anyway. And we'll get into it later when we break down the rest of the series with the Reds, why I also think that they didn't go all the way through it. But there's dudes that are hurt that are going to come back. They're going to have to DFA them, and then they can just put them on waivers. They'll just do that. But,
it's pretty boring though. But then
I'll tell you later.
There's some guys, you got picked up Nick Mears from Colorado. I don't know if that's moving your needle at all.
It makes my needle squirm.
The Pirates going for it with Brian De La Cruz and Isaiah Kiner Falafel.
IKF, baby.
I mean, it's interesting to see the Pirates actually being like, let's keep going, because they're tied for second place last I looked, which was yesterday or the day before. So they're 4 games back from the Brewers or something like that. I mean, they're in the wild card on. I mean,
they're a spot that makes me think of like those Nationals teams in like 2013, 2014 when Strasburg was young. Like, who knows how often these guys are going to be healthy? Who knows how many playoff shots they're going to get? And if you can get to a 3-game series or a 5-game series and you've got Jones and Skeens, roll the freaking dice.
Don't sleep on Keller too, man. And Jones has been hurt, so he'll come back for the stretch fresh.
Yeah.
Did they keep Aroldis, Chapman? Did they keep Aroldis on the team?
Oh,
I didn't see that he got moved. Yes,
no, he didn't.
That was my big prediction. I'm like, oh yeah, here goes Aroldis to whoever to go give up home runs in the World Series again to whoever's going. That's his thing. Maybe it'll be the Pirates. He'll be giving up home runs for the Pirates now in the World Series in a dramatic Cinderella fashion.
They've just punted on their fans so many times. I was happy they didn't do it this year.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't do it on McCutchen. I think even though we're all NL Central fans of our team, so it's not like we want to see the Pirates at the top of the division, but we certainly would like to see the Pirates at the top of the division more than the Cardinals. I know most teams don't want to see the Cubs up there because, we're the haves, even though we suck, which is hilarious for you guys.
We have shitty things.
It's like spending all your money on a Cybertruck. It's like, you think you're cool, but in reality, you're driving that thing around.
I've never seen one in the wild until like a week ago.
Yeah, and what was your thought about the guy probably driving it? And I do say guy because it was definitely a guy, that was driving that thing.
I saw mine in the parking ramp, but
dude, I saw one pulling into a Walmart parking lot, and I was like, this makes sense. This checks out.
Exactly. He's spending all his money on the truck. He's got to save money with the with the falling prices.
Like, aren't you supposed to be going to Dollar Tree?
So Pirates kind of going for it. That's exciting. And then the Brewers, they added Montas. Oh no, Nick Mears got added on the Brewers. That's who they added. Some guy in the fives. I was thinking.
Oh yeah, from the Rocks. Yeah.
From Rockies.
And the Cardinals, they traded Dylan Carlson, who was one of those made up ass players that they make in their little Cardinal machine that comes out and torments you and looks like all the other ones. But they got us some pitcher in the fives who I'd never heard of with the ERA in the fives. And then they made this giant trade with the White Sox and the Dodgers, which they picked up Eric Fetty and Tommy Pham and cash. So that's some devil ass magic. And when I looked at the Cardinals, and I want to get to it when I previewed the show, the Cardinals doing some serious devil magic in the fact that their Pathag has them at 49-58.
They should suck. They should be terrible. Oh,
but they're playing. They figured something out how to defy great baseball historian Pathag.
Remember when the Cardinals weren't going to trade for Juan Soto because they weren't going to give up Dylan Carlson?
Yeah. Oh, it brings warmth to my heart.
It still works out for them in the end.
Yeah.
And what's also great that's going to bring warmth to your guys' hearts is everyone is saying that the White Sox lost out on that deal. All the prospects were like just mid. So these GMs just Chinese finger trapped them, just got them from both sides. It was just like, well, hey, check it out. We're still going to be real bad.
Yeah.
They're
no,
so bad.
White Sox fans are not happy about this at all. I think he might be pulling an A's where he's just going to pull this thing down to the point where he's going to threaten to leave Chicago if they do not build him a stadium. I do believe this because the
Bears
better
watch out. The product's shitty enough. They might just say, see ya.
Yeah, no kidding.
This almost happened. They almost moved the Sox to Tampa Bay back in the 90s, I think. And that's how we got a stadium last time. So this is just, he's playing this same old song. And they just saw this work for the A's. And these billionaires, they don't.
But did it work for the A's?
Yeah.
It's been 3 years in Sacramento and they don't have a deal in Vegas yet.
Yeah. And once you have a quote unquote deal, that deal falls through real fast once they start asking for things, because the Bears were supposed to move to Arlington Heights. Now that doesn't look like it's going to happen. And all these freaking billionaires just will trade it all for your money, the taxpayer money. And
But back to the Sox. Did you see what Pedro Grifol said?
Oh yeah. He's like, it's your fault.
If we continue playing like this, it's entirely the fault of the players.
That is strong leadership.
Yes. and he reinstituted mandatory running and batting practice.
Yeah. Can you imagine a general in the army being like, if you get killed out there, it's your fault for being an idiot. Dodge those bullets, kids. I'll stand back here on this nice white horse drinking rum.
I could just picture Lou Brown walking out, pointing out, looking at the clause in the contract and pissing on it. Except the other way around.
Oh man, it's brutal on the South Side.
It's great.
So why don't we take a quick break? We're only going to do like one commercial break this time, and then we will go over to the Discord after the show, after we talk a little bit about this series with the Reds, plus the series coming up with the Cardinals. And I'm just going to play a quick commercial break for Patreon. Just personal plug here. Really want to go to Japan. I want to send the Sun Ranto show to Japan. We need money. I mean, just the tickets alone, the airline tickets alone, $4,000 right there is, $4,000. So up your Patreon pledge to at least $1,000 a month. And we'll be in good shape. Within 4 months, we'll have the money. So that's all you got to do. It's patreon.com/sunranto. And once again, there are these little QR codes you can click on and give us money. I will keep track of it. All the money is going to go towards sushi in Japan. So we'll be right back. Patreon.com/sunranto is where you do it. And we'll also play a commercial for In the Clutch. So we'll be right back. All over Chicagoland, there are thirsty, frazzled, overworked Cubs podcasters who are struggling to survive one more baseball season in the dog-eat-dog world of unpaid content creation. But it doesn't have to be this way. You can make a difference. Become a super ranter at patreon.com/sunranto, where your support ensures that poor, sad, pathetic, ugly, loser Cubs podcasters can pay for tickets and beer, and in turn line the pockets of the baseball oligarch Ricketts family. Just $1 a month can buy a scorecard. $5 a month can pay for guitar strings to write a Cubs song. And $10 a month almost buys one beer at Wrigley Field. Cubs content creators are the lowest pieces of pond scum garbage that slither over the face of this planet. But super ranters help them get drunk and screw off at baseball games. What do you get out of it? The Sun Ranto Show delivered to your podcatcher without stupid advertisements like the one you're seeing and hearing right now. Plus, at other Super Ranter levels, you can get Cubs music, access to private Sun Ranto pages, the Ranter calendar, and special thanks and Ranter recognition in our live broadcasts. Plus, eligibility for monthly prizes. What does Sun Ranto get out of it? Your money. For tickets and beer. Go to patreon.com/sunranto. That's patreon.com/sunranto. And become a super ranter today.
you like the Cubs a bunch, buy your t-shirts from In the Clutch. We've got all the best styles for you. Dansby, Saya, Morel too. Clark Fly in his W. Cody Bellinger smoking dupes. Vintage shirts from days of old. Patrick Wisdom and Nico. You'll look sharp wearing your stro. 10% off with the code SONRANTO. SONRANTO. InTheClutch.com is your store for the most fun baseball shirts on the planet. Don't forget to use promo code SUNRANTO to knock a couple bucks off your purchase. Stack or die, we need more cups. Get it all at In the Clutch. Cause if you like the Cubs a bunch, buy t-shirts from In the Clutch. Get it all at In the Clutch. Get it all at In the Clutch.
Welcome back to the Sun Ranto Show. Billy, what does In the Clutch have in store for us these days? Anything special that you guys are dropping? I love my opening day shirt, the Green Day one. That's freaking amazing. Anything for closing day?
No, we well, we did do a couple things for other teams, but my favorite thing that we have done the past week. So Nick Castellanos, you know what he does. We all love Nick.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody shot at the Orange Man, and then he dangered. And then, Biden drops out of the race, and then he dangered. So I was like, there's got to be a way that we can kind of say if something's going on in the world, Nick Castellanos is going to homer. And so we put one out that said, something happened, Casty homered.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
And then another one, it just said, have news, Nick homered with his face on it. I'm like really proud of those ones that like, it's one of those, like you toe the line, just trying to get something, you can't say like something horrific happened in the world. Nick Castellanos is on it, or like plus 400 Nick Castellanos homered. You can't do that. So we just towed that line. MLBPA being as fun as they are approved it, and pretty cool. So
here there they are.
Yeah,
I got them up on the screen right now.
Have news,
Will homer. I think that's my favorite.
Isn't that great? It's so fun. So those are the ones I'm very proud of. And then 2 just got approved today. I don't know if they're up, but there's one with Brian Wu for the Mariners, and it's him following through, and and then him screaming. It says Brian Wu, and it says, "Who do you think you are? I am." Like Pete Weber. Okay.
Oh yeah.
It's a deep cut.
Yeah.
And Mike Waller, you've got a Cubs PS Plus podcast coming out tomorrow. You said you were going to kind of do some like deeper dives into like your thoughts on Jed, and that's kind of why I didn't want to go to the overall view of maybe what's going on, because I thought you might want to put that out on your show tomorrow. But you want to give us a little preview of like if you think that this was a successful building enterprise for our GM.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of talk about where we are in the process. I mean, the process has sucked. I mean, they talk about when he came on, he did the rebuild, whether that was entirely his choice or not. They went through it and built up the farm system that has been successful. They've clearly gone from like 28th best farm system to number 2 by most measures. And it feels to me like he's heading into his last contract year. I know people talk about Tom not caring about the winning or whatever, but while that may be true to an extent, I can't imagine that Tom is thrilled about being in last place with like double the payroll of everybody else in the division. Like, if he's being in last place, just don't spend the money. And that would be more the cheap play. So I could see him wanting to like, maybe I'm only going to spend at this level, but do better with it. So I'm kind of looking at it like Jed's in the 8th inning, and what's he going to do to bring this thing home? And that's kind of the perspective I'm going to take on it tomorrow.
Cool. I'm looking forward to hearing it. Great show on the Bleacher Bunch Productions. If you haven't listened to the Bleacher Bunch or this show in podcast form, there's a lot of great stuff on there, including me and Sarah just did a show recently for a Cup of Cubby Blue, which she takes the lead on. Yeah, we did. We put one out
like 3 months.
Yeah, I know it had been a while, but we just have been, we kind of work like we do it in the middle of while we're working. Like, don't tell neither one of our bosses that, I'm like, we're in the middle of our job, and that's the only time we ever have. But yeah, we put out one the other day, and it's just great to get Sarah's perspective on stuff. You guys think about things very similarly. from a advanced stat perspective. I would like to plug the fact that my theater is starting their 31st season in existence. It's called Trapdoor Theater, spelled
Excellent.
R-E, theater with an R-E. And we're doing something new this year, which is a kind of doing a repertory program. So we're bringing back for 2 weeks in the spring and 2 weeks in the fall. Actually, you might recognize some of the music because I've used it on the Sun Ranto show as promo music, because it's all this organ music that I composed for this show called The Martyrdom of Peter O'Hay. Very cool show. It's like circusy short, like real quick. We're putting that up in September, but we need your support. So if you have any extra money laying around, $5, $10, it really can help a small theater like ours. It's a 40-seat theater. Trapdoortheater.com/support us. -us. So just go to trapdoortheater.com. You'll find the support button. It's Trapdoor Theater spelled with an R-E. There's another one in England. And
those local theater programs are so important.
Well, and especially in Chicago, you don't even know how many storefront theaters have closed because their rent doubled. Ours went up $500 this year. So it's, a month. So anything that we were gonna do before, now we got to do that plus $500. So, basically screw the artists. We'll never pay the actors. Well, if there were 10 actors in the show, you don't each get $50 more. We're all going to give it to this one guy who's already really, really rich and owns a bunch of property and left his wife and has a girlfriend as old as his daughter. And this is absolutely the truth. That is getting the money that you give to Trapdoor Theater, unfortunately. But otherwise, it's over. Yeah. It's over. Otherwise, we don't exist. So trapdoortheater.com. And I know a lot of you guys have been generous in the past with us.
So this, it sounds like this guy has. This sounds like this guy has a real estate podcast where he talks about how you should probably just buy property and why don't you own property.
Yeah,
that's check out. Okay,
and the reason is because he owns all the property. And that's why I don't buy property, because he charges more for the property than I have. So, it doesn't work out for me, but it works out great for him. Is kind of how it works, Dude,
capitalism works. I'll tell you.
Yeah, it really does for guys like him.
Yeah.
Actually, it
works economics.
That's right.
It works for us too. If you hit these QR codes, then I will spend that money and give it right back to a billionaire, because that's how that works. Because it'll be most likely be spent in Japan on I don't know, whatever beer IFG wants to drink there. That's
sushi and beer.
Sushi and beer.
You have to redo that commercial.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not tickets, sushi and beer now. So all right, the Cubs, we took 2 or 3 from the Royals. We got shut out, and then we managed to score a lot of runs, actually. They scored 9 runs, and they scored 7 runs, with only giving up 4 and 3, respectively. And then they lost 2 or 3 to the Reds, but they only scored 1 and 3 runs, and then 14, right? Was that the final? 14 runs for Ernie Banks?
13-4.
Yeah.
13.
13?
Yep.
1 short of an Ernie. So, I don't know what to make of any of that. They decide.
I mean, of course, the pitcher we hit is Lodolo. We can't score a freaking run in the bullpen game, but we'll just pound Lodolo all day.
And that was kind of surprising, but you said the bullpen has been a bit of a strength for you. So maybe that doesn't surprise you as much.
No, it doesn't, especially when you had an opener for Nick Martinez, who went 5. And Nick Martinez, since May 1st, he has a 1.89 ERA when he's coming out of the pen. I mean, he's really had a great year. Yeah. And accredit that to, a guy who listened to the metrics, listened to the nerds and was like, hey, you need to do this. And he was like, all right. And it completely changed his career. So, and then Nick Martinez, before the game today, was in the stands, went up to what they call the Bally Sports condo and did the pregame show with everybody in uniform. So that was fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, these guys are just looking at the last 2 months of this season. They know that they're probably not going to be in it, but they're playing for their individual tracks and futures.
That is where I'm going to disagree with you, because TJ Friel just came back. All right. He's only been back a week and a half. No, he came back last weekend against the Rays. He was the leader in WAR for the Reds all of last year. He's been on the IL. That was his third trip, and he's missed, around 70 games this year. Okay. Then Matt McClain, he starts rehab August 12th. He could be back by the end of August, beginning of September. There's your number 2 in WAR for last year. There is a lot of power and stuff coming back, and especially with those two. And you look at the schedule and you go, man, there actually is a shot. If they keep holding this together, they could do it. Novi Marte missed 80 games this year for taking an illegal substance, and he hasn't turned it around or turned it on yet. So, I mean, there is still a chance if they could go on a run. There is.
Right now, you are 5.5 games out of the wild card, but you've got to jump over San Francisco, who's not going for it. They traded off. Yep. Pittsburgh, who's kind of adding, but not, so excitingly that you feel like you couldn't do it. How many more games versus Pittsburgh do you have?
6.
Oh, well, so you could make hay there. And then you have the Cardinals, who I don't know how many games you have left against them.
7.
So you could make hay there. We're done. We're not the Pirates, but the Cardinals. And then you got to jump over the Mets, who seemingly are going for it, I guess, but once again, not excitingly in a way. But they already had.
Remember last year? So we were watching this last year. The Padres, even though they missed the playoffs, they came on really hard at the end. One of these teams that's just kind of floating down there is going to get hot the last couple months. I mean, maybe it's enough, maybe it's not, but somebody's going to make a charge. Yeah,
and so it's one of those things where, it's a why not us situation. And the Diamondbacks could go on that run too. I mean, they're getting, oh my God, lefty, Eduardo, they're getting him back. They're going to get Merrill Kelly back. I mean, who knows what they could do? It's just, there's still so much season and everyone is so average that anything can happen.
That's what was killing me this week with the deadline. So I was seeing a lot of Cubs fans like sell. And you get through the deadline, the season's not over. There's 2 months of baseball left.
2 full months.
Yes. And so sure, sell some pieces to whatever makes sense, but there's still games to play. If you're within 5-6 games, you could be that team. You're right. Why not us? I mean, it could be the Cubs. I don't see it happening, but it could be.
Yeah, I mean, and like when you're getting those guys back, and you guys saw TJ Friel the first 2 games of this series, especially last night, he turned it on. It's like, all right, he's finally fully healthy. Mm-hmm. So that's a game changer. That makes your lineup longer, and you got rid of the worst starter that you had, and you got to add to the bullpen for another strength. And hopefully Junis isn't dog shit like he was tonight and was like he was in Milwaukee. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen. What I'm saying is there's a pretty good shot. Who knows? And they're going to stick with it.
Well, I think it's hilarious that, I mean, I don't have any hope for the Cubs to go on a run like this at all. I don't know if you do you have any
not hope really, but but they're not that far out. I mean, a couple teams are going to tank it out from here and a couple teams are going to get hot. And the problem I see with the Cubs is I think they have the pitching to do it. The bullpen has been a lot better over the last month and a half. They just got Merriweather back. They've got Caleb Killian now in the minor leagues. They've added some additional high velo arms. And so that side of things is all there, but they haven't scored all year. So I don't know why I would expect them to now.
Well, because they just did. I mean, they just put up serious runs against Kansas City, and then they put up 13 tonight, although it's hit and miss. It fits and starts.
And from the schedule side, I mean, the Cubs still have all 7 games or all 7 or 8 games against the Nationals left. They play Colorado again. They play Miami again. Like they've played Detroit. They've got a bunch of bad teams coming up. So there's a chance. I mean, it's there, but they're going to have to
win those games.
Yeah. They're going to have to score with some consistency, which they haven't done all year.
No real offense has this whole year. I mean, that's just how it's been.
But they've been like 28th, 29th in baseball.
Yeah. And the Reds were like 25th. And like, just to put a bug in your ear about that, what we were just talking about with schedule too. I mean, like I said, the Giants, and then follow that with 4 at Miami and 3 at Milwaukee, 3 at home against the Cards, 3 at home against the Royals. Yikes. 3 at Toronto, which they're dog shit, 4 at Pittsburgh, and then 3 at home against the A's, and then 4 at home against the Brewers. So we really do control our own destiny here. That they can just be like, hey, beat who you're supposed to, and then, beat who's in front of you.
And that's going
This
to be
all
the Cubs'
changes.
problem. The Cubs have already lost, I think, the tiebreak with almost anybody they could wind up
Almost
tied
everybody.
with. And don't have many left.
Steve Scher down in Arizona saying the Diamondbacks not getting enough national credit for what they pulled off at the deadline. I mean, it's probably because they play in the Dodgers division, so nobody really gives a crap.
Yeah.
And they don't trust it, but they did do quite a bit. They got Josh Bell. I mean, I don't know if that's going to do too much.
He hit 4 homers in 4 games before the Marlins said we'll see him.
He could go on a heater.
Yep.
And then they got Dylan Floro, at former Cub,
Former Red.
I don't know. Oh yeah, yeah, he was. Who else did they get? They got. I don't know. I'm not seeing anything more. Am I missing something else? Oh, they got Davison De Los Santos, and they got AJ Puck. Puck.
Yeah,
that's.
They got AJ Puck for Davison De Los Santos and Andrew Pintar.
He's a good lefty out of the pen.
Yeah,
He'll be a good setup guy for Seawald.
So they did some stuff. I mean, they're repeating their situation. I mean, they're right now they're the second wild card team with almost the same record as the Braves, and the Padres got hot and they're right there. So you've got. I mean, I don't.
Corbin Carroll's been terrible for them all year. I mean, if he gets it going, all of a sudden that.
Yep, he just turned it on last week because I played him in fantasy, and I was like, "You son of a bitch!"
And the Reds have played 2 fewer games than the Cubs too. So also they're, I guess, at least for those 2 games that you haven't played, it's in your hands. But I don't think the Giants. I could see you getting over those guys. But I mean, it is going to be a dogfight down there at the end. But it's a dogfight for a 3-game series now. So that makes a huge difference in how a mediocre team can be in the World Series.
Well, back to the schedule thing too for a second. Like the Cubs, they beat Kansas City, they swept Baltimore, they swept Houston earlier in the year, and all through June, I was like, before the season started, I thought get through May, be around 500 because it was a tough open, and then you're going to be in good shape. They completely shit the bed in June. Like the easy part of the schedule has not been easy for the Cubs.
Yeah, that's what happened with the Reds too. But then also you look at it and it's like all the dudes who were supposed to do something for you didn't because they were either hurt or got popped with the juice.
Yeah, and ours just
or they hit like Dansby.
Yeah, ours just having down years, and even if they were to have a good second half, as I said before, I don't even know how much I trust a second half that seems to be played with less pressure.
Yeah,
because I don't think I just don't think that they're in the hunt. I feel like they don't feel like they're in the hunt. Maybe if you ask them, they're like, "Oh, we could still. There's still time left."
Yeah,
just because but I don't. What
I'm going to find interesting is at some point playing Patrick Wisdom and Mike Tauchman doesn't move the needle anywhere. And I'll be very curious to see if they do create some opportunities, even if it's only for a week or 2 here and there, to get Moises Ballesteros up, see that bat, get Owen Casey up, take a shot. And if one of those guys comes up and creates a splash, now all of a sudden maybe you've got some momentum going, you get some juice at the stadium, and who knows?
Yeah.
But
I mean, we had Reese Hines for a week do that, where he broke Barry Bonds' record and like did all that for a week, and then the All-Star break happened. He was like, "No, can we just like go play in the parking lot and play? I just got to keep moving. I'm not done. And then they came back and he was like, "They ruined all my magic." But like that
PCA
could totally happen.
Yeah, PCA's been lost for a long time, but you can only learn to hit Major League pitching by hitting Major League pitching. Like there's the difference between AAA and the majors is bigger than it's ever been. You don't see the explosive stuff. You'll see some of it, but not as much. And we're seeing PCA grow right in front of our eyes. I mean, he's been great lately.
Yeah.
How did the Reds finish 1 game over 500 last year when they were supposed to lose 100? By playing the kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I don't understand. And I know you guys have harped on it for a while, but like never understood not playing the kids. And then the other thing with Dansby, I don't think that Dansby he's been bad yet, but I think if you look at the back of the baseball card or Baseball Reference, I think he's just regressed back to the mean.
Yeah, I
he's
think
still
so.
Below, but To an extent, yeah.
The defense is still there. I mean, that's the thing that hasn't gone away. He was kind of hobbling around a little bit, so maybe it was a little off, but I think it was because of injury. But for the most part, he's recovered from whatever was going on there.
I'm actually not sure about that. I kind of wonder if he's just playing through something the whole year, basically.
He might be, but the defense does the eye test. It's passing the eye test to me.
Yes,
the defense at the very least.
Well, it's because his wife has been over in Paris. He misses her,
Yeah, he does.
When she was here, he wasn't hitting either.
She's motivating him because she's doing better at sports than him, by far. Like she's scoring goals, and Dansby's like striking out 3 times and hitting balls off the top of the wall that are supposed to be homers.
Well, what you guys need to do is you need to go down to the Dominican Republic, find a 6'6" shortstop that's 16 years old, who is super fast, has power, hits from both sides of the plate, and then wait 5 years, and then you guys have a shortstop. That's pretty cool. That's what we did. It worked out.
Yeah, not our style. We
do have one guy like that. Kevin Alcantara is very much in the mold of.
Oh yeah, he is. Yeah,
but him. He will never see the light of day in Chicago because they will block him with any freaking 2-bit has been 35-year-old journeyman bench bat. In the I cursed Daniel Descalso's name. I bet you Descalso would get at bats today over Kevin Alcantara. Mark my words. I mean, this is the team that still is technically, they're not rostering them, but paying Trey Mancini. So that's
Tucker Barnhart.
Tucker Barnhart still paying him. The Tuckmeister
bumper fart card.
So it's fun to see in this series. It was fun to see. In the last series, we had Patrick Wisdom hit a couple dongs. He's a lot of fun to watch. It's a shame that he won't be like coming off the bench for some contending team. Like I can see people aren't valuing his skills like we do.
No, his mustache was in postseason form. It looks great.
He's showing the youngins how to do it because he's unfortunately in his early mid-30s at this point. So, so he knows how to grow one. Justin Steele shaved his mustache. It was a pretty wispy looking thing that he had on the other night. It looked
all his facial hair is totally wispy. He's got the worst beard ever, but he needs to bring it back.
Well,
it's called get over the age of 30, and that thing will maybe just bristle up on you a little bit. You know how it tends to, Look at Billy's a prime example. I'm sure that was a little bit of a wispy thing before when you were in your 20s, and now
it was bad. I mean, it made me. My mustache looked like John Waters had a full one. It was impressive.
Yeah. And then let's see what else happened. Belly came back, so that's good. He hit a home run for us. And then Seiya had a really great week. His bat's been great. People are clamoring for him to do more DH because the defense has been weird. But anyway, you guys won. You guys beat us last year too. You weren't a good team. We were supposed to be better last year. We weren't. You beat us. Reds have been beating the Cubs the last few years.
Well, the Reds announcers were talking about that tonight because I get stuck with the Reds feed because they're blacked out in Charlotte, North Carolina because I should just go to the game apparently.
That's so dumb.
Yeah, it is.
Hop, skip, and a jump over to Cincy.
But they were talking about how the Reds have been beating the Cubs, but then the last 2 years, the Cubs have just laid these absolute whippings on the Reds. Like when the Cubs win, it's 20-4 and it's 13-4.
Yep.
Just been bizarre.
And it was so bizarre. It was against Lodolo tonight. Lodolo is very good. Like he's had an excellent season, and I was like, yeah, lefty, he's coming in. He's gonna throw that high heat, drop that curveball right behind the foot, and get a lot of swing and miss. And he didn't. It was just like the fastball was off, and it wasn't like he was getting pinched in the zone. He was just off.
Yeah, and he hit our new guy in the foot.
I suck Paredes.
You suck, yeah.
Yeah. Right.
He hit him. I suck. Yeah.
I suck Paredes. Yeah, dude, it was an 0-2 count. I was like, what are you doing, bud? Come on.
Right on the edge of the shoe.
God.
So, and now, who do you guys play next?
We've got the Giants here. Oh, my God. Friday night here. Fireworks Friday. But here's the bummer. Jerry Garcia fireworks night. I'd rather have a lobotomy that smell all that patchouli and watch all these trust fund kids running around in dead gear like my dad loved it. I'm like, oh, barf. Go back, go home. You're an accountant. You don't get to wear tie-dye.
Come here, Uncle John's band. Bye. Yeah, all people dancing like this.
It makes sense since it's the Giants. I get it, but man, it's gonna be awful. But yeah, we got the Giants here for 3, and then we're off to Miami for 4.
Well, we might be able to help the Reds out in your quest to win the wild card by knocking off the Cardinals. We have 4 games with these suckers.
Oh.
And I was looking up some of their numbers, and it really is. They have allowed 44 more runs than they have scored. At least when I looked it up, it's different probably if they played today. I don't know what they did today, but they are tied for second with the Pirates. They're only 6 back. They're 2 out of the wild card right now. So the Cardinals' devil magic is alive and well this year. They got Wilson Contreras broke his hand. Now he's back, or his arm.
They beat Texas 10-1 tonight.
Oh, see,
yeah.
Devil
How
magic
crazy is that?
They got better. They probably won that big trade by picking up Fetty. I would guess Tommy Pham got traded to them from the White Sox, who wasn't doing shit and hit a grand slam, won the game.
I hate him so much.
Immediately. And then he slapped Jack Peterson in the face.
Yeah, I was about to say he showed up, walked into the clubhouse, and was like, "All right, just let you guys know, I'm the commissioner of the Fantasy Football League.
Yeah, do not cross me." And then we don't have the tiebreaker against the Cardinals. We would have to sweep this series in order to win the season series. So the Cardinals are 6-3 versus the Cubs. Cubs are 3-6.
Here's Tommy Pham's line from tonight in the 10-1 win. He went 3 for 4, drove in 2, scored 2, hit a double. Because double magic Tommy.
He's happy to be back.
Well, he did the same thing in Arizona last year.
Yeah.
It's like he goes on these runs. He's a cancer in the clubhouse, a Trey Mancini type, and then he just sits out the first couple months of the year, and then gets signed to a dog shit team, and then gets traded, and then gets to get hot and get kind of paid. Mm-hmm. Sounds like the life. Guys, we really screwed up.
I think it was
Burleson was becoming the guy in the Cardinals that I'm starting to hate, but
yeah,
I think he's probably a decent dude. Like I just hate Tommy Pham.
Yeah, well,
he's a bad person.
Bleacher Jeff used to give him hell out in the left field bleachers, and I believe he complained about us one time.
Yeah,
and because
how soft is that?
Yeah, exactly, and. But Rick Sutcliffe, I believe it was talking about Tommy Pham a few months ago. I remember, and Sut was like, "That's the kind of guy you need if you want to win." He's like, "That's the kind of guy that you need if to go into the trenches for you down. When you're down, you want yourself a Tommy Pham." But he is the perfect Cardinal because he is so hateable.
Oh.
He's
was he going to fight William Contreras a couple weeks ago when?
Yeah, because
that stupid dust up thing they had.
Yeah.
So he's always ready to go. He's always ready to fight. But I'll tell you, because I've known a few people like this, that you're nervous around them. If you're around somebody that is volatile and is like you don't know what they're going to do, it does affect you. So I can see it being effective. When you go to the plate and you're like, Pham's looking at you and you're like, oh my God, Tommy Pham's looking at me. You know what I mean? Like you gotta toughen up a little bit in that moment because you don't know what he's going to do. So you got to be on your toes as all.
He's Michael Barrett, but he can hit.
Yeah. And I mean, so I kind of agree that even though I hate the man, that maybe somebody like him is kind of the key to success. Yeah. I mean, Pete Rose was not a good person.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
Dude, the Charlie Hustle doc is
there's a lot of chatter on it in the Discord.
Whoo, man. Like, I've been a champion of him being a piece of shit for years. And they finally talked about the thing that needed national attention. But boy, do they make him look like he used steroids.
I mean, all the good ones are bad people. I mean, Barry Bonds, bad person. Ty Cobb beat a child to death with a hobo one time. Like it's documented.
Yeah. Avid hobbyist. No, I'd say it's a full-time profession for him. Racist.
Yeah, exactly. It's his thing.
Yeah.
So just so there's something to be said to that. Being an asshole does help you in certain aspects. Money, for example. If you're a prick, don't care about people, you know, and you don't care about like ripping off old ladies, you can get rich real quick.
Yeah.
You can have
want
a
to
big
jack
house and a pool. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to jack the rent up on an independent theater that does great productions? Yeah. Let's do that.
No problem.
I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Screw that guy too.
Yeah, I have a Tesla. I have a Tesla butt plug in right now. I'm an asshole.
Exactly. A Tesla butt plug. So, I mean, yeah, that's just it. Is all these Musk stands. Everybody wants to be one of those guys, the Andrew Tate bros, you know.
Dude, did I ever tell you the story about how I saw Jose Canseco in the airport in Vegas? And when he hopped on the tram to go to the terminal, he sat in the back on like a little bench, pulled his phone out, and had Andrew Tate on full blast. Just no headphones, just in his phone. Just like, he's like, yeah, it's like, yeah, you just hit him. And Jose's just nodding like, yeah, you hit him or whatever. Oh, it was great.
That is right on brand.
Yeah. Oh, totally. The most on brand.
So the Cardinals you said they scored 10 runs tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, they've been really good. I don't know. I looked this up this afternoon, but they've been hitting homers all week long since the All-Star break. Arenado, Contreras, and Goldie, 3 homers each. So they're coming in hot. Maybe that's good because they'll cool off. They already got it out
Tonight
of their
they
system.
didn't have any homers. They had 14 hits and 2 of them were doubles. The rest were just singles after single after single after single.
God, I hate the Cardinals.
They've got
So
the
much.
7th best bullpen ERA on the year. Cubs
Shut
have
up.
actually come up to 10th in that category. Since the break, the guys that are doing it is Gallegos. Helsley's had a really good year. And then a guy named Andrew Kittredge. And they must have had some stinker because I saw Brandon Crawford pitched. So something must have happened. I don't know what was it. They might have been winning by a lot in Brandon Crawford pitch, knowing those assholes.
I think every time the Cubs have faced Helsley this year, they've been fake rallies, but they've created noise every time they faced him. So hopefully they can get through it once.
I'm hoping we see Brandon Crawford personally. Like, I hope the game in one of these that we see Brando. And then we'll be like, let's go, Brandon. Because they got to figure out something to do with all those shirts that are left over, all those Let's Go Brandon shirts.
Well, you know, all the Cardinal fans have them.
Yeah, they all have them. So it's all, they just repurpose them for Brandon Crawford.
Oh, God.
So, hey, they're already red.
They normally are wearing them under their white robes.
Exactly. You can really see the red underneath those white robes. You really can. The red hat really sticks out too.
Yeah.
That must bother you. I mean, red hat's kind of ruined for you, Billy, for a while, you know.
Dude, I had a trucker hat and it said Hootie Delight, you know, classic Cincinnati beer. I got it for $0.25 at a thrift store. And I walked into a Kroger and I was wearing it with my wife and we're going down the aisle and I turn and I see this dude wearing a red trucker hat. And as he approaches, when I get towards the charcuterie section, he comes over and he points at me and goes, huh? Check, huh? And it's a Make America Great Again hat. I look at him and I go, no, this is for beer, not hate. And he went, oh.
Okay. And then he realized in the pickle aisle that you had insulted him and he looked for you for like 3 hours in his freaking truck with balls hanging off the back, trying to find out where you live so he could kick your ass.
Yeah. I'm wearing the charcuterie section. He's looking for those tiny little pickles, you know, the charons that you put on the edge. And he was like, I'm in the wrong section. I should just be where the bush light is.
Yeah. These pickles are so tiny, they're kind of gay.
They're kind of gay. I can't wait to put them in my mouth.
Can't eat pickles anymore.
The
That's just
liberal
for beer,
media
not hate.
ruined pickles.
Yeah, liberal media ruined pickles. Can't even watch The Incredible Hulk anymore.
Yeah, you didn't know
what
that
that
one of the main tenets of Project 25 is make pickles ungay.
I mean, they're kind of bumpy, which makes, you know.
And then right under that, make pickles less gay. Then it says, take your pickles to term. Full term.
So no like half sours. You're going
No.
full dill, maybe some bread and butter.
Oh, full bread and butter, baby. Because we got to keep the price of them low so that they can work at a low rate to keep the rich rich. Keep your pickles cheap.
Yep. Flavorful too. That's some flavorful pickle.
So much flavor.
So the most flavor you ever seen.
So much flavor. I don't know about this flavor. My Trump is so bad.
Oh, he really is. It's almost over. God, I hope it's almost over. So what else about the Cardinals? Speaking of Trump, what about the Cardinals? You know,
tomorrow's going to be Shota Imanaga against Sonny Gray.
Yeah.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
That's a fun game. It's also Ian Happ bobblehead night. And let me show you how stupid this thing is. Here, I'm going to put it up. There it is. Ian Happ bobble. It's got interchangeable accessories. I don't know if the glove, if you can just put that on him and take, it looks like maybe you could take his whole hand off. And
That's
then,
handy.
Yeah, very handy.
Hey.
It doesn't look like there's a hand in the glove already.
It does.
I mean, this is just an artist rendering. So, anyway, he's holding a golf club. He also has a bat. I guess you could change that out. He's got a coffee cup, ostensibly full of Parse rum.
Where's the podcast mic?
I was wondering that. Like, where is the
pod? Question.
Yeah. So they're giving this out tomorrow. I might go down there and get it, only because I have a few bobbleheads right now, and I'm thinking I'm going to razz them off little by little, all the money going towards Japan. So if I go down and get an Ian Happ bobblehead, maybe we can like raffle that thing off. Little money in the Sushi Sapporo fund. So that's a great. Actually, I'd like to see that game too. That's a pretty good game. Imanaga, Sonny Gray. That's a lot of fun. I'd like to see that. And then you have Eric Fetty, their shiny new toy, who's 7-4 with a 311, going up against Javier Assad. This is a 120 start. Bud Friday tank tops they're giving out again. Yeah, not everybody looks good in these though. You understand? Crawley can put it all, but Crawley's my only friend, I think, that can pull off the tank.
Yeah, I can only pull off a halter top.
I want to see Assad pitching it.
There you go. With his belly hanging down. Oh man. So no, I don't think he could pull off. Even the pitcher that day cannot pull off the Budweiser tank top they're giving away. Then Kyle Gibson, he's 7-4 with a 397. He's going up against Tyone because we did not trade him. And they're giving away some Topps baseball cards, but look who's right in the middle of the promotion that they're giving away for the baseball cards. It's Christopher Morel. And awkward.
Yep.
So they're giving that away to only 10,000 fans, which seems pretty chintzy. It's baseball cards. It seems like you have room for these.
That's stupid.
It's stupid. They're trying to get them in there early, but nobody's going to show up for those. I don't think. Maybe they will.
This year, the Reds sent down Graham Ashcraft because he was terrible. And then there was an injury that happened. Someone went on the IL, and they brought him back up for his bobblehead night.
Luckily, Morel's was earlier in the season.
Yes.
So we got that going for us. Clint says, let's raffle off my belly bobblehead for Japan, except for that it's a Dodger bobblehead. Does it have a broken arm from a high five?
Yeah.
It's the Cody Bellinger dislocates his shoulder commemorative bobblehead. Bobble arm. That's what it should be. A bobble arm where he's going to high five. And it should be high fiving Glenn Burke. As it's for like gay pride night, something like that.
Yeah.
So then the last one, which they moved this to a night game, which I did not realize. This was not originally a night game, right? It was a 120 start on Sunday.
Yeah, they moved it 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Shit. So it's Miles Michaelis versus Justin. I don't really care, but it's Miles Michaelis versus Justin Steele, who did not have it tonight. Hopefully
I hate Miles Michaelis too. I'll just say that out loud.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, that freaking move when he hit Ian Happ in the butt.
That was so dumb.
after Ian Happ's backswing accidentally hit Wilson Contreras, totally unintentional. These
After
guys
they
were
already hugged it
teammates.
out.
Yeah. After they hugged it out, and they're like, literally, I'm so sorry. This is not a problem. I mean, Ian Happ is the last guy. He's the last guy. Like the bullpens are running in that fight. The bullpens will be running out, and Ian Happ is like still in the dugout, like tying his shoe, being like, "Oh, I didn't realize there was a fight going on. I didn't know." You know,
Sorry, he missed the first one.
Yeah.
Threw it high and then hit him in the ass. Like it took him 2 shots too.
Yeah,
It's like, I'm looking for my French press.
yeah, exactly. Looking for my waffle iron, my home run waffle iron. So here's the problem, though. Sundays have been run the bases for the kids' day. So now I think that's off for the kids on Sunday, and it's also Clark Plushie Toy Day. So the problem is they sell these tickets with a 1:20 start, and they're like, "Oh, look, it's the kids' day." They're giving out a plushie toy for the kids. They're doing running the bases for the kids. So they're like, "Look, honey, let's buy tickets to this one." So they do, and then they move that shit to 6 o'clock, and it's a dick move.
Move. Yeah. So just tonight, I booked all my travel stuff to come out for the Blue Jays series, and I'm going to bring my youngest. We're going to go to all 3 games. But if all of a sudden they jack that Sunday game to 6, I'm out because I got like an 8:50 flight coming back home.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, and then
they're not going to. It's Toronto. Nobody wants to see that game in primetime.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say, you're in luck that Toronto blows chumps.
Yeah. Yes. And then what would you have to do? You'd have to give the tickets to some jerk like me who would go for free.
That's right.
It would be awful for you.
Danny.
Oh, man. That would be rough, Daniel.
I know. Really hard for me. So I did get a message in from Cubstradamus, our soothsaying predictor of what's coming.
Yay.
Of what's coming. He everybody hold your nose because he hasn't showered or changed his robe in a while. So here he comes.
The Cubs will start racking up wins like a Chinese phone book has chins. It'll be the coolest after they beat St. Louis and then take 3 games from the Twins. JD Vance 2024.
Now he's a JD Vance guy. Does he know that guy? He's just abysmal. Last week he was for Kamala.
Dude, my couch is not safe.
Yeah, especially from Cubstradamus. I don't even think he has a bed. He just has a series of couches he crashes out around till they kick him out.
JD Vance lives 5 minutes from my house.
I thought he was from lived inside a coal mine.
No,
I was told he lived deep down with a bunch of orphan children with coal smeared all over their face.
No, he lives in the basement of a furniture fair. Sorry, regional reference. Never mind. Actually, Furniture Factory. Yeah. There we go. No, he lives in East Walnut Hills. I'm in Mount Auburn. I'm not saying where I live is nice, but where I'm saying is where he lives is really nice. So I might stop by and say hey this weekend. You know.
Oh yeah, just say what's up. Bring him some Cincinnati chili.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
So we do have the Twins are next, and they're what, average?
Good. Yeah. They're good.
They're good.
They made a very similar move to the Reds, where it was just they got like a bullpen arm. They didn't do anything crazy, but they've been in the same camp of kind of hurt, you know. But Royce Lewis is always hurt, so it doesn't really matter.
What I'm looking forward to is that I can bring back my great line. There was a couple years ago, I was drunk and we had lost to the Minnesota Twins on a weeknight, and I saw Ricketts walking down the warning track, and I decided that I had to express my displeasure. So I'll I'll play the clip of that night when I well, here it is.
We're losing to the Twins, my man. Come on, Tom.
we're losing to the Twins, my man. We're still losing to the Twins. So hopefully I don't have too many instances this week to play that drop over and over ad nauseum on Twitter.
So the Twins and Royals are tied for the second wild card spot in the American League.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
we got our work cut out for us. I did want to remind everybody of the Cubsler from last week. I'll just read it real quick. Michael Cotton's out today, so we're not going to give it to you, but we'll just remind you that you have to. This is there's a series of clues, and you send your correct answer to sunranto@gmail.com, the old-fashioned way, email. Cubs bullpen fireman and closer honored by Polish American Police Association. Dusty killed arms, but Baylor and Kim used this guy 95.2 innings in one season. Send your correct answers or incorrect answers to sunranto@gmail.com. Happy birthday today to Obvious Shirts' Joe Johnson.
Oh,
Turning 69 today. Congratulations. Nice. It's a very nice birthday for him. I suggested on Twitter, then Billy, you probably understand this too. Why don't you go on the Obvious Shirts website, go to the clearance section of the website and just buy random things that you think are cool, because that means he printed these things and it's sitting in a warehouse and he's like, what am I going to do with this Christopher Morel shirt that I printed that now has no more use?
Yeah, I can see him now in the back with that giant box that's like 6 feet long, 3 feet high, just digging like, oh, great, they want one of these.
Yeah, exactly.
On his birthday, just inconveniencing him.
Yeah, I'm a Morel support in triple XL. Thanks a lot, jerk. Somewhere down here.
Yeah.
And then also it is Carol Coven's birthday. I went to Grant Gable's birthday. It's a Bleacher Bump Band's bass player's 2-year-old son. I went to his birthday party, got eaten by mosquitoes. And Deidre Von Heersele is this weekend. And if you say Dan Nielsen's mom, Joan, her birthday is next Wednesday. So if you happen to friend her on Twitter or on Facebook, I think that's where she is. So say hi to her, which is the perfect transition to the fact that we are throwing on September 20th for Dan Nielsen's birthday, kind of a memorial for him again. His parents are coming in, and we're going to have a nice time, raise a glass to Dan Nielsen. He's been gone, I guess, a little over a year now. Was that right? No. So 2 years.
I'd say, isn't it 2?
Yeah, going on 2 years now. He's been gone. So I'm going to share the link in the chat to the Facebook event if you're on Facebook, but it's September 20th. We are going to get group tickets. That's where I've done this. So if you want to attend and you're not on Facebook, contact me and I'll include you in the number of the group tickets we're going to get. We're not going to get bleachers because it's too hard for old people to set up bleachers, basically. Got a lot of people. They did bleachers last year. It was a lot of fun. We're doing something else this year. Anyway, also Ron Luce from the On Tap Sports Network, he got engaged. And so I saw this on Twitter. There he is. I got engaged to Katie. And so congratulations to him. So if you follow him on Twitter, very nice guy. He actually was one of the bidders for the Ranter Fest items this past year, helped us raise some money. So congratulations to him.
Also, in that photo, both photos, he's wearing the same blazer.
Oh, that is true. He only owns one coat. So if you see Ron, give him some money for a new coat. He's going to need one. And then I also, speaking of people getting together, you guys all probably remember Megan and Sean Fitzy. They got engaged at Wrigley Field. They're Bleacher regulars, and they got married. So there they are on their happy wedding day. Congratulations to them. Aww. Also, so Aaron and Sean, congratulations. And I also want to shout out the Bleacher Nation crew, who they had a Larry Hawley and the Howard Ankin team, who are sponsors of Bleacher Nation. They sponsored a little get together at a bar over on the West Side, and I saw this is a good crew there. You got Brian Box of Cubs, you got Luis, got Michael Cerami, Larry Hawley, Brett Taylor's over there in the corner, Full Count Tommy. And the Cubs won this game. You see Imanaga on the mound there in that game against Kansas City. I had a really good time seeing them. We're lucky to have such great bloggers, podcasters, all getting together and having a good time together. I love those dudes. And that brings me to my only TFC. Oh, no, I got two, but it's Bleacher Nation TFC, which is this. It's Burl McStevens said to Bleacher Nation when he was in the middle of his huge blogathon for Make-A-Wish Foundation, said to Bleacher Nation, relax. And Bleacher Nation said, it is explicitly my job not to relax. And I like this one also from our friend Mike Prasnowski, who after the Cubs lost the first game back from the All-Star break 6-0 to the Royals, he tweeted out a now very famous picture of the Wrigley Field marquee with the Spirit Halloween banner over it, making us all laugh. So good stuff from Mike Prasnowski. I don't know. What do you got coming up? What do you got to plug for us, Billy? You got any shows coming up?
I think we might be able to hit it, but August 21st, I will be releasing my second album and first full video special.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's going to be called Billy DeVore Winded, and you'll be able to get it everywhere. So that date may change, might not. There's a few things I need to still do. It's my fault if it's late. So yeah, but that, and then I'll be in November. I think it's like November 8th. I'm assuming I'll be on again before then. Unless I screwed this up pretty good. But I'll be at what is it? Urban Cidery. It's right outside of Indianapolis. So I'll be headlining that show. So I know that's in Cubby Blue Nation over there.
It is. Evan Altman, one of Cubs Insider. He lives outside of Indianapolis.
It's like right outside.
You met Evan, but
I don't think so. It's right outside of Carmel. So it's like Urbanstead Cidery. So which means I will be bringing my own beer.
So, but you have also a website, right?
Yeah, it's
or an Instagram or whatever.
At William the Four on Instagram and X or Twitter, and then that's where you just follow me. Just look up Billy DeVore, and then check out the new Nasty Boys. I mean, we do talk about the Reds, but a lot of it's me and Chris, the co-host, a very funny stand-up comic, talking about funny stuff, talking about our weeks, stuff going on in the world, and then funny stuff happening in baseball. It's not just all Reds talk. So
yeah, it's great. And you guys have a great TikTok channel that you actually edit. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And also because you're both comedians, it's entertaining and it's not boring. So, it's just like you got the baseball content, but you also are, having a good time. I believe there's a TikTok of you chugging a bat full of chili.
Yeah, example, my beer bat, it's still stained, so totally worth it.
Too bad you don't know where to get another one. It's impossible to find.
I know, what a shame.
Now, is it going to bother you when everybody calls the special winded? And and like for example, for example, when I call it winded just to piss you off, is that going to bother you, or should I just do it at this show and never do it again?
You know what? If you call it winded, what I'm going to do is I'll just be very chill about it, and then I'll just do, that's what it's called.
I have a theory. I used to listen to Stuff You Should Know a lot, which was, and I forget those guys' names. Some of the original hosts, Josh and Chuck.
Yes, Josh and Chuck.
It's been years since I listened to Josh and Chuck, but I don't even know if they're still doing it. But sometimes they would make mistakes on the show and say something wrong, and then they'd correct it, and it would stick in my head more because the one guy told him he was wrong, and I'm like, oh, Josh is wrong or something. And then that fact would stick in my head, and I thought to myself, are they doing that on purpose because they know that that's more entertaining to like have a guy be wrong and here's where I'll be wrong and then you say you're wrong and then everybody will be interested because I'm wrong. So maybe that's our little marketing ploy. You say winded, I say winded. I do the same thing with the Chuggo boys at CHGO.
Yeah.
I call it Chuggo, pisses them off to fucking no end. They hate me for it, but everybody calls them Chuggo, but then they're like, I mean CHGO, and then they remember the name.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe this could be a fun thing, and this is what gets people to watch,
So every time I say something wrong on Cubs Pod,
Mhm.
I'm just trying to get you to pay attention. When I'm like, no, that's not what happened. It was this that happened. It's just me trying to like rejigger the entire thing for you.
Yeah, it's like when I'm sorry.
Just don't call it wounded.
Wounded.
Gashed.
Yeah, gashed. You mean gashed?
Yeah.
So, well, anyway, I think we should do a watch party. What if we did like a watch party where we all got together and watched your special? Is that too mortifying for you?
No, it's just weird because I did the first edit and I watched it and I was just sitting there and there's parts where I'm laughing at myself and I felt so uncomfortable and it was just me and the editors and I'm like, oh, they didn't like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very uncomfortable watching like it was the same thing during the pandemic when I had to like do shows like this, but then there was like 20 other people watching and they all were muted and I'd say like a punchline and it would just be
Oh, that's got to be so weird to not get the feedback in the normal way.
Oh, it was the worst.
We had a Christmas caroling event. So, our annual, we did it in 2020, but it was, but there's so many delays and I'm like, all right, I want y'all to sing. And I gave everybody the lyrics, but everybody had to mute themselves. So I'm just sitting there by myself as the only one that's singing. But it was, and then I ended up making a video. It was just, we all made concessions.
Of course.
Yeah. And we got it done. So I'd like to thank the Bleacher Bunch Productions, which please go leave us a 5-star review over there. It really does help other people find the show. We're on the Fans First Network. They've got a lot of great shows. Unfortunately, yours is not one of them. They got a boring Cincinnati Red show for no reason.
And guess what? He lives in Colorado.
Yeah, not cool. We'll have to change that sometime.
I'll set that argument out.
Yeah. And then I'd also like to especially thank our 108 Patreon supporters. Please become one. It's only $1 a month, and it helps us go to Japan. So honestly, you'll be helping us go to Japan. So
and you get Cubs Pod every day.
Every day you get a podcast delivered to your inbox in an RSS feed that nobody else is getting except for the Patreon people. It is a daily show about the game that just happened. I was telling somebody my idea, Mike, about what we might do in the off season, which is to take a random game from history, like the Babe Ruth called shot game from the world, and tell it like Cubs Pod, like you're there, and just like you're a fan of the Cubs at that time, and you're pissed off that Babe Ruth called the shot, and if you were Charlie Root, you would have thrown at him or like whatever, you want to bring it. We're gonna do games like that just for fun.
Yeah, bring it back to the Pandy. That's what Lee and I did is we rewatched the 75 and 76 World Series and did an episode each week right after. Like we watched it live on Instagram and then we broke it down. Like that was fun.
Cool. Yeah. Unfortunately, the television wasn't invented the last time the Cubs had been in the World Series.
Yeah.
For one of the older ones, and 2016 was a little too fresh to do it with.
Bit of a problem.
Yeah. We were like NBC was just a fledgling radio outfit.
People limit ourselves to TV. We don't get Merkel's boner.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Well, and people of color weren't allowed into the ballpark.
Yeah. Yeah. Jackie Robinson had not even broken the color barrier at the time before the Cubs were in the World Series. So our 108 Patreon supporters: Blake Beard, Rogue Wave Creative, and of course, Mike Waller and the Cubs PS Plus podcast. Matt Cameras, Permanent Paintings, and In the Clutch shirts. Mike, you've got a big show coming out tomorrow, right?
Probably tomorrow. I think I have time to record. So if it's not tomorrow, it'll be Friday.
You can find us in all the places that you find all the things that you find. We're called Son Ranto Show. We have a website. One of those good old-fashioned websites. So that's the show. Thanks for hanging out, Billy, Mike.
We're doing hashtag chance.
Duh. I almost forgot again about this. Would have been 3 weeks in a row that I would have forgotten. So this is your last chance to get in on the chance. I'm going to share. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's shoot. All right. Who's going to be the winner? Round and round she goes. Where she stops, only the chance random AI program knows. And the winner is Carrie Meyer. Congratulations,
Yes.
Carrie. I don't know if you're still here, but if you are, you win. And I don't, it's 11 o'clock here, so I don't think I'm going over to Discord tonight. But I thought we were going to wrap the show up, and then we just went the other hour like we tend to do.
Yeah,
fun.
that happens.
It happens. We're having fun. But thanks for being here, guys. Let's
I don't like the Reds, but every day with Billy is a good day.
Oh,
it's true.
Oh, Mike, you're so swell. It was so nice to finally rip with you. This was great.
Yes, this is great.
Hell yeah. I'm going to play the song that I didn't play last week, but because we just finished trade season, even though we're playing the Cardinals, and indeed, fuck the Cardinals, but I'm going to play Hug Watch because I don't know, just feel like it. So spagog, y'all. And see you next time.
Go Red Light.
Hug Watch, watching for hugs. All your favorite players getting traded from the Cubs. Hug Watch, watching for hugs. All your favorite players getting traded from the Cubs. Hug Watch. Hug Watch, what do you got? Don't want to give up nothing, but you want to get a lot. Division contenders want to take all of the players. Well, they're filling up the system with a bunch of teenagers. Hug Watch, watching for hugs. All your favorite players getting traded from the Cubs. Hug Watch, watching for hugs. All your favorite players getting traded from the Hug Watch. Hug Watch. I was hoping that they'd offer you a new contract, but now the bullpen catch is gonna help you back. All the fans are sorry to see you go. Sayonara, arrivederci, au revoir, adios. We're singing Hug Watch, watching for hugs. All your favorite players getting traded from the Cubs. Hug Watch, watching for hugs. All your favorite players getting traded from the Hug Watch. Hug Watch. Let's hug. With your career, the time went by so quickly, but say goodbye to Wrigley, cause you can keep on playing, but you can't play here. Singing Hug Watch, watching for hugs. All your favorite players getting traded from the Cubs. Hug Watch, watching for hugs. All your favorite players getting traded from the Hug